If you enjoy watching Common Ground online, please consider making a tax-deductible donation at lptv.org.
A lot of times in industry, a company would own an entire town, and there'd be, let's say the mining company, right, owned the mining town. They would own the general store, they would own your house, they would set the prices at the general store, they would set your rent, and they would pay you in company money, which is not unlike monopoly money. It's only good in the context of the game, except for this wasn't a game, it was real life. And people would have things happen like funerals. You know, their dad would die, and they'd have to pay for the funeral, and of course they'd pay the company for the funeral an outrageous price, and then they would be in debt, and they would try and work that debt off, and at the end of the month they would find that they were not being paid, they were not being adequately compensated for their work at all. And oftentimes you can see up here where they go to weigh their coal or weigh whatever they'd mined, and then the company had all the control over that system, weighing those goods. And it was not fair. And they got together and organized. And sometimes they would go and they would ask the preacher for help, right? But what the preacher told them was that they would get their pie in the sky when they die. They'll eat in heaven. So people started asking, well, who owns the church? Who pays the preacher? These were good questions to ask. So it's call and response. I sing a line, you sing it back, and you can see the lines are bolded. This looks very much like a church hymnal, because this song is actually ripped right out of a church hymnal and rewritten, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Your part goes, you will eat by and by in that glorious land up in the sky. This one's different. Way up high. Xavier's got this. Work and pray. Live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. Indeed, that is a lie. You can feel free to say that part you can say all of it really loud. Yes. Yeah, long-haired preachers come out every night. They try to tell you what's wrong and what's right. Oh, but ask them how about something to eat. And they will tell you in voices so sweet. Oh, you will eat by and by in that glorious land up in the sky. Yeah, work and pray. Live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. So the IWW not only advocated for workers' rights, but they fast found themselves also needing to advocate for free speech, because people didn't want them out on the streets preaching the gospel of working class liberation. So they were often banned from speaking in places. And one thing I find really interesting about songs like this that take the church hymns and convert them back into folk music, because really a lot of church music is stolen folk music. There's a lot of thievery in music. It's cool by me. But oftentimes the boss would send in, they'd send in the cops, right, to arrest people for speaking. They'd also send in the Salvation Army band. So I'm up on my little soapbox and speaking about, liberating the working class from the boss, and in comes the, 20-piece Salvation Army band, trumpets and trombones and piccolos and such. And it's really hard in 1905 to, 1920 is about the time we're talking about here, to speak over those things without modern equipment like this. So what they did is folks like Joe Hill, who wrote this song, took those same tunes that the band was playing, and they just wrote really radical lyrics to them. And so then they'd be speaking on their soapbox, and then the band would come to drown them out, and they'd say, oh great, our band is here, and they'd start singing along these verses to those songs. It's brilliant. I wish I was that brilliant. So here we go. And the Starvation Army, they played, yeah, and they sang and they clapped and they prayed till they've got all your coins on the drum. Then they will tell you when you're on the bum. Oh, you will eat by and by in that glorious land up in the sky. Yeah, work and pray, live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. Indeed it is. Yeah, holy rollers and jumpers come out. Yeah, and they roll and they jump and they shout. Give your money to Jesus, they say, and you will eat on that glorious day. Oh, you will eat by and by in that glorious land up in the sky. Yeah, work and pray, live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. So folks folk music, there's this thing where we have to sing the depressing verse, and then another depressing verse, and another depressing verse, and then at the end, we're obligated to have something uplifting, right? And I like to also think that music changes things, because it does, and us singing together changes things. So this is the last chorus, just so you're not wondering what I did and why I left you wondering why it was different. Yeah, working folks of all countries unite, and side by side we for freedom will fight. And when this world and its wealth we have gained, yeah, to the grafters we'll sing this refrain. Oh, you will eat by and by, when you've learned how to cook and how to fry, or dumpster dive, chop some wood, it'll do you good, and you'll eat in that sweet by and by. Thanks.
Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people November 4th, 2008. If you enjoy watching Common Ground online, please consider making a tax-deductible donation at lptv.org.